Sky, are we bouncing back to?
hope you're ready. This is going to be exciting.
And we got coverage starts up to go. Green flag is out and we're underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
Welcome, Goat Locker race fans, to race number 3 of the Operation Valor Truck Series. Kansas City sets the stage for us tonight, but last week in Iowa, we saw a battle to the finish that ended in heartbreak for 2 drivers falling out of first and second place after the white flag was thrown. This week, those drivers will be back and driving with a vengeance, and you can catch all the action right here, live on V-Speed. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside the broadcast booth. My name is Logan Threlkeld, and again, joining me here tonight is Sky Schreck as my co-commentator and Eddie Smith behind the scenes, working all the controls as our producer. Sky, glad to have you back. It's been a long week, it feels like. It's only 7 days, but it feels longer. But we're ready to get this show on the road. What do you say about that?
Yeah, especially with the great races that we've had the last 2 weeks, I'm super excited for tonight at Kansas. It's the first Dash for Cash race, too, which is going to make these drivers drive extra hard.
Absolutely. So we'll hit on that right off the rip of things. Tonight, first Dash for Cash. So last week, we had our qualifying effort. That was there at Iowa, sets the stage for 5 drivers here tonight, which were the top 5 finishers last week. So last week's winner, Jake Ham, followed by Patrick Drabick, TJ Peters, Jonathan Cofield, and David Duke are going to be out here battling for a cash prize here tonight at Virtual Kansas. I believe, if my information is correct, it's about $60 or so. So we're going to see some good hard driving out here out of these 5. They do not have to win the race tonight. It is the top finishing position between those 5 and those 5 only, Sky.
Yeah, and it's going to be really exciting to see who comes home with that money tonight. It's not the only one on our schedule. You can see that looking at the schedule right here. Dover as well is a Dash for Cash race. Looking ahead to the next couple of weeks, we got the Milwaukee Mile next week, Las Vegas in 2 weeks, and then Rockingham in about a month from now. All 3 of those tracks are really good ones that I think are going to produce some great racing.
They always do. And we've got a pretty stacked schedule here for the Friday night Operation Valor Truck Series. There's no shortage of good racing every week, as we've already seen the first 2. But Kansas City, Kansas, not on the Missouri side, just across that state line. So we've got our Google images here. Turns, we've got 17 to 20 degrees of banking out there. And then just about 10 degrees on the front stretch coming across that start-finish line, 5 degrees down the back stretch. Very symmetrical track here that we have. It always puts on a good show no matter who's on it. But while we've got some time, Sky, why why don't you run us through our race setup here tonight, our race analysis?
Yeah, well, obviously we're running at Kansas. It's going to be 100 laps long tonight, which is about 150 miles here at this mile-and-a-half track. Pit road speed's 45 miles an hour. You got 4 tire sets available for this race, so you got to make them last. 2 green, white checkered attempts if we need them. 100% fuel load. iRacing fixed setup as always, but not as always. We do have a faster pair out here tonight.
A little bit of a wrench in things for some of these drivers, changing things up. Instead of that standard 0 fast repair policy here, we're going to have 1 on the track tonight. It doesn't seem like much, but it certainly can help some of these drivers that get caught up into something early. You know, that allows them to finish out the race here tonight, and that could be very important for one of those 5 drivers that are racing for that Dash for Cash. But it's now time to send it over to our Navy vet, Jared Ashley, for our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
As always, a beautiful rendition of our national anthem from Jared Ashley. Thank you for that, and thank you for your service. Qualifying effort has been completed, and we have our pole award winner here tonight. The Jam Printing and Promotions pole award goes to Craig Bontrager in the 49 with a 30.588 around Kansas Motor Speedway. Very close second place from Patrick Drabick in the 07 with a 30.597. Third goes to David Duke, with Jamie Mullins in the 4th position to his outside. Michael McCarthy in the 22 will start out here in the 5th spot next to Jeremy Gardner in the 42. 7th goes to Chance Taylor in the 14 next to the 68 of Stephen McDonald. Last but not least, here in our top 10, we have Josh Lokenvitz in the 79 next to the 33 of Tyler Justice.
And outside your top 10 tonight in 11th, it's Jacob Ellingson, Jamie Barkus in the 15 in 12th. 13th tonight will be Jesse Necula in the 51 with Barrett Morton 14th in the 2. Inside of row 8 is going to be Levi McCarty in the 24, Timothy Stubblefield on his outside in the 92. 17th is going to be Chuck Feltz in the 75 with Jonathan Cofield in 18th in the 53. And rounding out your top 20 tonight will be James Kaufman in the 25 in 19th and Logan Sturgeon in the 26 in 20th.
Bringing up the back third of our field here tonight in 21st, the 36 of George Jewell will start there next to the 3 of Michael Kostick in 22nd. Brandon Wallace in the 99 will start out in 23rd next to Timothy Peters in 46. He'll have a long way to drive for that Dash for Cash tonight. 25th goes to Michael Seymour in the 37 with the 64 of Matt Knights to his outside. That will round out our 26 car field here tonight for Kansas. we've got trucks rolling on the track now. Only a matter of time before we send this thing green. But before we do that, we have a special shout out to give out here tonight. It's going to be a big Goat Locker shout out to Bennett. For those of that don't know, Goat Locker Racing driver Mike Browning's nephew, Bennett, has been battling leukemia for a while now. This weekend, Bennett will be celebrating his 5th birthday, so happy birthday, Bennett. We just want to say happy birthday from everybody, a part of Goat Locker, a part of V-Speed, and everybody a part of the Benny Pit Crew. Hashtag burnouts for Bennett, and also, you had a special message from Uncle Mike. He wanted to tell you, go Chiefs. So happy birthday, Bennett. Well, Sky, just a few moments to go here. We're now with the pace truck off the track. Into the InVets restart zone we go, and we will be dropping the green flag, and it's away. And with lap number 1 in the books, pole setter Craig Bontrager will claim the first lap lead. David Duke was able to claim a position here and put himself up in 2nd place right off the rip, getting around the 07 of Patrick Drabick. Shuffling all throughout this field so far, nobody really making too many moves, but there's a lot of side-by-side action starting about 5 rows back all the way to about row 10.
And the inside seems to be working a little better than the outside right now. You're seeing a lot of cars make moves down there. Chance Taylor was trying to run the top, kind of got put back. We're going to go side by side for the lead, so we'll see if Drabick can make this high line work. He's got the advantage going down the back straightaway into turn 3. They're still going to stay side by side into this corner, but it looks like Patrick Drabick is going to get the spot and hold the lead as we come down the front straightaway.
As we've seen week after week at some of these tracks from previous seasons, from this season, that outside line can carry a lot of momentum that will help that driver out exponentially. At the same time, wearing down the tires early. Drabick will look to get around Bontrager as soon as possible and likely start using that low line to save those tires.
Yeah, that's kind of the beauty of Kansas. While the inside line worked better on the start, you can run anywhere here. You're seeing that right now. Bontrager on the bottom, Duke in the middle, Lokenvitz running all the way up on the top. 3 completely different lines being used there, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and they're all working pretty all right because Duke is going to be able to get the run on Craig Bontrager in the 49. He'll try to challenge for 2nd.
That's all it takes is one little slip up. Kansas is too small of a track to make mistakes. We're nearly 3 wide, about halfway deep in the pack. Not quite catch the numbers there. Looks like the 53 on the bottom. Big check up there. We got the 25 in the wall. James Kaufman, issues in turn number 3.
And that'll bring out our first caution to the race. The 25 car doesn't seem to have too much damage, but we saw him in the fence back there. We're going to get a replay for you, and we can show you what happened.
So I saw him start to make a move around the outside. And not quite this corner. We're coming out of turn 2 right here, so going into turn number 3. Timothy Peters right there behind in that red chrome 46, I apologize. Oh, a little bit of a net code issue, it looked like. It certainly acted like the 25 got touched rather harshly on that left rear, but that camera did not show anything. There is a massive gap there between the 46 and the 25.
Yeah, just a little bit of net code there with that 25 car coming down the track is unfortunate for both of them. Luckily, it doesn't look like James Kaufman hit the wall that hard, and he does have that faster pair if he needs it.
It'd be a real shame to use that so early on in the race. You know, it's going to be few and far between where these drivers will have that extra, oh, how do I want to say this? Cautionary. I don't know where my train of thought was with that, but it's nice to have the backup car.
Yeah, a lot of cars just came down pit road, about half the field. 14 drivers, all of them out in about 5 or 6 seconds, so likely all of them kind of topping up on fuel here, it looks like.
Yeah, no sense in taking tires just yet, not even 10 laps into this race, but you might as well take some fuel. If you can afford to lose a couple positions, it's well worth it in the long run. If we get that notorious green flag run that Goat Locker puts on so often, every bit of fuel is going to count along the way. Patrick Drabick will assume the lead here for this restart. Bontrager will start on the outside, followed by Duke, Ellingson, and Lokenvitz. A couple driver cams up there on the screen for you. TJ Peters, Josh Lokenvitz, Jake Ellingson, Chuck Pegleg Feltz, George Jewell, and Patrick Drabick have elected to use some of those driver cams tonight. Sky, I don't know if I've mentioned it yet this series, but Alec and I talked about it a lot last season. Chuck Feltz, that is not a fella you want to mess with.
No, not at all. Look at that.
He is, you know, he seems like he'd be rather scary, but one of the nicest guys you could come across here in Goat Locker, so glad to have Chuck here week after week. But we're doubled up and coming down the backstretch now. We've got 2 more corners to take before we get this green flag rolling once more. Again, Drabick will take the green flag here for us and lead us into the second start of the race. Sky, is there anybody out here that you'd like to take note of as a potential candidate up here towards the end of the race?
Well, a couple of those cars took fuel. Jamie Mullins, Chance Taylor were both at the front. They've kind of gone back to 13th or 14th. If that strategy works out for them, they could move up a bunch of spots, get back to around where they started.
They very well could, but the pace truck is off, and Drabick into the Invets restart zone, and on the pedal he goes. Big jump for the outside line. Drabick out by 2 car lengths over the inside line of Bontrager. Jacob Ellingson in tow, right behind the 07, follows the 27.
And they're connected on that bottom. Both drivers really close together down there as that 49 of Bontrager just not making that lower line work like it did on the last restart. Ooh, a little bit loose for Duke there, but he gets it straightened out. Drabick still taking advantage of the top, but we're going to go side by side back here for third. It's the 22 of Michael McCarthy splitting the middle to take it 3 wide down the front straightaway.
3 wide down the front straightaway and 3 wide into turn number 1 as the 22 of McCarthy gets really close there to the back bumper. The 07 of Drabick, but still stuck between the 49 and the 27. Still 3 wide coming down the back stretch. Finally finds a spot in the top line, but immediately looks back to the middle.
Yeah, that pull-in lasted all of about 1 second there because now he's right back on the door of Craig Bontrager on the bottom, trying to hold that 49 car down, limit the run he can get off the corner to try and give himself that position. Hasn't worked yet. He's going to try it again, and it's looking like it's going to work for Michael McCarthy this time. He'll get that 3rd spot off the corner. Now he's fighting Jacob Ellingson for 2nd.
That Invets in-car camera there on board with the 78 of Duke gave us a fantastic view there of that battle in front of him. But now he's side by side with Bontrager, and now it's McCarthy and Ellingson going back and forth here for 2nd place.
Ellingson moving up the field quickly here. He started outside the top 10. He's gotten it up to 3rd. Great run so far for him. He's trying to push for 2nd right now if he can hold it around McCarthy.
Ellingson able to take away that 2nd place position for sole proprietorship right now. Drabick still with the advantage here. A little bit further back, Bontrager is falling back. Duke has gotten around cleanly, and now Bontrager has fallen to the grasp of the 79 of Lokenvitz to his outside, with Jesse Nekula right behind Lokenvitz, looking to take advantage as well in that 51 machine.
Yeah, staying side by side. Bontrager's really not been able to make that bottom work on speed. He's been falling back all the way from first back to about sixth here. He can't get that thing working, and that top lane is just kind of going around him. He's putting up a decent fight right now with Jesse Nekula in the 51. He'll move a little further up the racetrack into turn one this time, and we'll see if that helps him clear this 51 car down the back straightaway.
49 of Bontrager doing everything he can right now to keep Nekula at bay. But meanwhile, up front, McCarthy just had a nice challenge through turns 1 and 2 on first place, but now has fallen back to third as Jacob Ellingson got the run around McCarthy and looks at the back bumper of the 07 on that high line.
Ellingson's got a lot of speed right now. He's gaining time on traffic a little faster. You're on board with Josh Lokenvitz right now as that 22 of McCarthy slides up right in front of him. He'll go down to the inside to try to get around that car. We'll see how this works, but McCarthy's going to get the run down the straightaway, and I think that'll take him back out in front of the 79.
That momentum is everything that you need coming off of that corner. Eventually, that momentum will go away once these tires start to wear in a little bit more. That inside line will prevail on some of these drive-off situations. Right now, we've got a big battle heating up back here around the 10th place position. About 4 cars under a blanket for that spot. We've got Jamie Mullins in the 66, Barrett Morton in the 2, the 68 of McDonald, the 46 of Peters. We've got 3 wide coming across that checkered line. Peters stuck in the middle of 2 of them.
I think that 68 is Stephen McDonald's probably in the best position because you see so many of those leaders riding the top just like he's doing right now. Bad run out of the corner for the 24 will give the 68 that spot. And now McCarty's going to start falling behind. He's going to lose out on the spot to Timothy Peters, and now he's got that 92 car, Timothy Stubblefield, on the top. And he's got another car beating down his bumper, and that's going to take him 3 wide down the straightaway with Jonathan Cofield as well.
Early on, a lot of 3 wide situations coming out of turn 4, going all the way to turn number 1. Right now, the 92 with all the advantage he wanted. That leaves the 53 and the 24 side by side. The 92 looks to hunt down the 46 now. The 14 of Chance Taylor now entering the picture. We'll see if we're going to see another 3 wide coming out of turn number 4 if he can get the momentum that he needs. 42 of Gardner right there as well.
That top line just seems to be working better right now. The 24 was able to get up there, and suddenly he's able to hold off Cofield behind him, at least for the time being. He's been able to keep that 14th position over the 53, and he'll get clear through 1 and 2. Looking behind them, the 14 of Chance Taylor's now on the top. He's got Jeremy Gardner running the bottom, and if he can get a move going on that 3 car, or on that 14, or on the 42 car, I think the 3 car of Kostick is going to go with him.
It would make the most sense for the 3 of Kostick to follow the faster truck, especially with the high line working as well as it is at the moment. Nothing doing just yet. Most of this field now relatively single filed out. We'll have to keep an eye on it and see who's going to try to make that move. And it's going to be, I'm going to say somewhere from the middle of the pack is where we're going to see some action in just a couple laps. We've got 8 or 9 cars that are separated by about 1 second back there. But right now, Drabick still retaining the lead to Ellingson. Both drivers had a fantastic week last week. We'll see if Drabick can do something to put this P2 finishing truck last week on the top of the podium this week.
I would like to mention with that Jeremy Gardner, Chance Taylor battle back there, you mentioned how the action was in the mid-pack. They're still going at it. Those 2 cars ran the exact same lap in qualifying. Gardner and Taylor both ran a 30.635. Now they're together on the racetrack going for position. These 2 can't get away from each other in these first 22 laps.
It was a battle between both of them last season, and it's changed nothing coming into season number 9. It's going to be a pretty close one between those 2, pretty well season after season, it seems like. Some of the best battling that we've had throughout Season 8 came between those two drivers. But now we're up here a little further away. We've got a pass for position coming around. That's the 9 of Barrett Morton with the 46 of Peters to his outside. Still looking here at David Duke making his way around the 79. The 15 will have some momentum coming out of turn number 2 down the back stretch. He'll claim a position from the 79 as well.
And the 51's right behind him. That's Jesse Nekula trying to get that spot on the top 2. You can really make that top work if you ride right up by the wall, and it can really be bad for the car under you when you just can't get a run. When you get a line like this and you've got like Barkas, Duke, Nekula all up there on the top, and you can't really pull in line anywhere, it can be really difficult to make time.
You are indeed correct about that. Now's the opportunity that the 79 needs. He does take it. He's up on the high line now. A little bit of contact with the wall, I believe, on that corner entry. Slowed him up just enough. Lokenvitz back in 9th. Currently at where he started, so nothing hurting too bad right now. On board on the Invets in-car camera now with the 46 of Peters, who he is up 14 positions already in this race. First time we've seen him up here in the top 10 so far. Showing a great pace to get up here to the top 5 in a hurry.
Yeah, he's one of those drivers that gained a lot of spots on that pit stop. He stayed out, did not put any fuel in the car, and that jumped him into the top 10. It seems to be working right now for the drivers who didn't put any fuel in, because the only car in the top 12 who came down is Jamie Mullins. Every other car who came down and took fuel there is still sitting outside the top 12. First one being Levi McCarty in 13th.
So a little bit of a mixture of strategies, like you mentioned, at that pit cycle. We had about half of the field come down, half of the field stay out, only separated by about 7 laps. But 7 laps of fuel can be the difference between staying out on the last restart, if there is one, or coming down. So it could be a big change of position if you don't have the right strategy call. We've got a whole lot of race left before we find out who made the right choice here tonight. Drabik still with a dominating lead, almost a half second of gap between the 07 and the 27 of Ellingson.
That gap was close for a while, but Drabik's really managed to extend it. Last 2 laps, he's ran pretty considerably faster than Ellingson. He's really starting to pull away from that 27.
And on top of things, too, it's almost 2 seconds back from second to third. About a second and a half right now between Ellingson and McCarthy. But McCarthy not able to get away from Bontrager or Duke. As Bontrager is going to take a little bit of a look to the inside. He does get to that left rear quarter. He'll have the inside line going into turns 1 and 2. Duke with a tough choice to make now. Who does he follow? Does he split the middle? There is a gap there. The 78 can make it work. He will not. He's going to slot right in behind the 22 and get around the 49 of Bontrager.
It can be so difficult on that bottom line. You saw it right there. The 22 of Michael McCarthy has done such a great job of just running all the way up to the wall, defending that high line, and because of that, no one can really get around him. Bontrager tried it on the bottom, but you saw how little grip he had off the corner. He just couldn't get on the throttle at all, had no speed, and lost 2 positions with that move.
Just one thing to note for the viewers as well. Down there at the bottom, we have the list of our Dash for Cash drivers. So keep that in mind as we're going through this race and you're seeing these drivers on the screen. Right now, Patrick Drabik in that 07 leading the race, obviously in the best position to win the Dash for Cash, as we're going to be 3 wide once more between Bontrager, Duke, and McCarthy. Duke in the middle, Bontrager on the bottom, McCarthy on the high line. Duke with the advantage through turns 1. He's going to get a big bump now from the 22, able to collect it back up. 22 did not like that move up into his racing line.
22 scraped the wall, and that was what cost him all the speed and let that happen. I wonder if that caused any damage to his truck. And if that didn't, I wonder if that big hit to the bumper of the 78 caused any damage to that truck. He's still running on the top right now, so he's going to have some speed, but he's now trapped outside of the top 3 by that 78 car, David Duke. He's going to need some speed to get back up there because I don't think that inside line will work for him.
Right now, the 15 of Barkas is loving what he's seeing out of his windshield. Those 3 drivers essentially slowing each other down. So we're now on board with the 15, taking a look at this battle that's formed ahead of him. Jamie Barkas very good at picking a moment to make a move. Once one of these drivers inevitably make a mistake, he will capitalize on it.
And we get a change for the lead. Ellingson just got around Patrick Drabick. Drabick had a bad run out of the corner, and it was a huge move down to the inside, all the way down to the apron for the 27 car. You could see it kind of from the in-car there. Drabick is going to have a really bad exit out of this corner, and the 27 gets a huge run all the way down to the apron and comes up right back in front of that 07 car.
Now, if my memory serves me correctly, Ellingson and Drabick are teammates, so that could have been a team call there to get Drabick some draft and save some fuel going forward. So I don't necessarily know if that was a bad, as we've got one spinning in the back. That's the 9 of Barrett Morton sideways out of turn number 2. Morton, no damage, but does throw the caution here for the second time tonight.
Hey, he's going to be pretty lucky he didn't hit anything. We'll get a look here on the V-Speed replay. He's going to go on the top into turn 1. He's racing around that car on the bottom. That's going to be the 24 machine. Comes right up in front of him. Oh, and hits the wall. Nowhere really to go for Barrett Morton as he tried to dodge that accident.
On board now with the 9 for this replay. Take a first-hand look here just how close this was to begin with. There's the contact from the 24 into the wall. Morton just nowhere to go. No time to react. He was already all over the back bumper. Once that contact with the wall was made, shot him out just a little bit and caught the right front. That's enough to do it there, Sky.
Yeah, it was just a really big move from McCarty, and he couldn't quite keep the handle on it. Nowhere to go for Morton, as we are going to see the entire field come down into the pit lane here, so it'll even out that strategy, and we'll see how this will shake out. Everybody down.
Got one driver staying out. That's James Kaufman in the 25. He'll get back on the lead lap here, but does sacrifice the fuel that he'll have available. Not sure if he'll get an opportunity here to come down pit lane. Now we have every single truck except for Kaufman, and one already out of the box. I believe that's the 46 of Peters. And now everybody's coming out. It's a drag race off, but Ellingson's going to get the advantage over Drabick. That'll put him in the front starting spot for this restart. Cofield there in the background, or Kaufman, apologize, there in the background coming down pit lane, so he will get an opportunity to put some more fuel in that 25 and is now back on the lead lap. That's the most important thing for Kaufman.
And it's a bad pit road for Craig Bontrager in the 49. Spent the longest on pit road out of anybody in the top 15. Dropped back from inside the top 5 to 9th on that pit stop.
Well, while we have a moment, Sky, why don't we give a shout out to one of our league sponsors here. We'll start out with Lincoln Tech. Lincoln's mission is to provide superior education and training to our students for in-demand careers in a supportive, accessible learning environment, transforming students' lives and adding value to their communities. They are one of the largest automotive technology schools in the nation with 23 campuses. They are the title sponsor of the Spring Series and a very large partner of Goat Locker Racing. Right there on the 27 of Jacob Ellingson, repping that Lincoln Tech truck week after week. We would like to thank Lincoln Tech for being a part of Goat Locker and helping keep the ball rolling here. We're now doubled up and coming down the backstretch once more. Pace truck lights are off out of turn number 4. We'll get back going green, Sky.
Yeah, it's their drivers really been in control of this race right now. Started in 11th, drove it up to the lead, getting around Drabic. We know he's quick on the long run. We'll see if he can hold that lead from the inside line on this restart.
That inside line has not been too kind on the restarts, and now a lot of these drivers on fresh tires, as most of the field did take them. And we're back green here at Kansas. A big jump for Ellingson off that bottom line. Hopefully, Drabic teammate will be able to fall in, as Ellingson actually takes the outside line now in front of Drabic. But a big push from the 78 behind. We're going to be 3 wide coming down the backstretch for the lead. A little bit of a connection issue there for Drabic now, but 22 of McCarthy looking to the inside of Ellingson.
Yeah, McCarthy's down to the bottom. They're side by side for that top spot on lap 38. Ellingson just has that run out of the corner that you get on the top. He'll lead the lap, and it's looking like he's going to get clear back down into turn 1. McCarthy's still there on the bottom because it's Drabic filling the hole on the top.
So McCarthy gets a very good dive into the corner, just can't get the drive off. Almost contact there with the left rear of the 27. Now Patrick Drabic takes a look to the inside of McCarthy. He'll get the advantage here, but will he have the momentum to get the drive off as he's side by side with teammate Ellingson now? These two drivers controlling the race at the moment.
22 a little down to the middle, trying to cut some distance off this racetrack, but he'll go back up to the wall into 1. Drabic's going to try a slide job right here, and he'll make it work out of the corner. He's got the lead over Jacob Ellingson. McCarthy's going to go down to the bottom, but Ellingson will follow him around on the top.
It worked last time for the first portion of this race for the 07 and the 27. You might as well go back to the same strategy, as it's a scramble behind the 07 right now for the second spot. McCarthy's still door to door with Ellingson. Got a nice gap between them, but Goodhart racing from the top and the bottom lines. As you can see right now off the back of the 07, nobody electing to use that middle line, as it just really does not exist here at Kansas.
McCarthy was able to get up in front of Ellingson there. Another really good slide on the bottom to jump up in front of that 27 car and take the position. 27's looking under it, but McCarthy blocking down the straightaway, really wants to hold on to P2.
Not quite halfway through this race yet, and a fantastic battle has formed for the lead. Drabic with the advantage, but McCarthy and Ellingson not going to let him drive away this time, as McCarthy gets to the inside of the 07 once more. He'll stick his nose to the lead. Will he have enough to get around the 07? He tries to move up the track. Just not enough room on the outside, but McCarthy is going to get this lap led, cutting that tri-oval. We'll see if he can do it down the backstretch here. Still side by side with the 07. Side by side behind as well. I believe that was Bontrager there on the bottom with the 46 of Peters on the outside.
Drabic proved you can get through the lead via slide job, and McCarthy's trying to take a play out of his playbook. Go straight to the bottom, run it to the top off the corner, get the run and put yourself out in front. Doesn't work for him at all there, though. A bad corner is going to leave him vulnerable, and that'll put Ellingson in a good spot to try and get around him on the top. McCarthy starting to struggle on that bottom, and it's going to let Drabic get away.
Drabic finally clears the 22. It puts Ellingson side by side with McCarthy. A little bit of connection issues there for the 51 behind. Then that battle between Duke and Barkas right behind the 51 of Necula. But all eyes are on the front of this, as McCarthy has finally started to fade out of contention for the top spot for the time being. He'll fall back into third. And we're nearly 3 wide. 3 wide it is with the 51 on the high side. Duke in the middle. Contact made. Able to keep it straight, though. A lot of ground lost, as the 46 of Peters will collect 2 positions going into turn number 3.
And
He'll insert himself up into the top 5 now.
That almost happened on entry to the corner. Almost got into Necula, barely avoided an accident between him and Duke, and then coming down the back straightaway, contact put that 51 car into the wall, and Duke back to 6th. Necula back to 8th, but he's got that top line. He's going to have to fight his way around the 49 of Bontrager, but he can't quite get clear, so the 51 will have the spot on the top.
That's a prime example of that top line able to carry the momentum out. You can see, it's about a 2 to 3 mile an hour difference coming off of the corner. It looks a whole lot slower than that, I promise. Right now, the 51 of Necula has to make way around the 78, but also keeping in mind he's got the 49 on the low line, now clear of Bontrager. Bontrager's at risk of losing another position here to the 79 of Lokenvitz. The 53 of Cofield backed way off into the entrance of that corner. He's 3 wide on the outside now. Contact with the wall for Cofield. Slows all the momentum up on that car.
Yeah, it wasn't great for him. He tried to get down to the inside, kind of last minute, changed his mind, and it messed up his whole run through the corner, and he's going to end up losing about 4 or 5 spots because of it. Here's the battle for the last spot in the top 10. It's Levi McCarty taking the position ahead of Michael Kostick. Both of them running the top right now. McCarthy's got it for the time being. Bontrager fell back to 9th behind Lokenvitz, and now McCarty will be looking at the bumper of that 49 car in front of him.
Kostick, another driver with a fantastic drive up to the front of this field. 11 spots gained since our first green flag of the race, now up into the 11th position. Only one other driver has more spots, and that's the 46 of Peters, down with 19 as he finally made his way up there to the top 5. And back to Drabick up here in the front with Ellingson in tow. And there's that gap that they had the last time before the last caution. It's over a half second now from McCarthy to Ellingson.
We've talked about how Ellingson's gone 11-2, but Jamie Barkas a little further back has gone 12-4. Picked up 8 spots in this race. A lot of drivers up here really doing a good job to move through the field, improve on their qualifying efforts. Right now, Barkas is trying to look low on the 22 of McCarthy as he kind of scrapes the wall a little bit there. Keeps it at speed, just barely, and he'll hold that spot ahead of the 15 car.
Not quite enough contact to slow down the 22 by any means, but you cannot do that lap after lap. So you see McCarthy comes down off the wall just a little bit more than last time by. Contact behind, though, into the wall. On board now, the InVets in-car camera with the 15 of Barkas. Take a look at this and see if Barkas can pinpoint an opportunity to get around McCarthy.
Well, we got a caution out further back. That's going to be for Jesse Necula, who is running inside around the top 10 at the time. He's backwards on the front straightaway by the start-finish line.
Necula was having a very strong effort up there at the front of the pack. For some reason, just not able to keep the car straight coming out of turn number 4. Looks like a little bit of contact there was all it needed. 2 cars going for the same spot on the track. That does not work 9 times out of 10.
No, it doesn't. You'll see it once again here. You're watching that 78 car, David Duke. That's one of our Dash for Cash cars. Contact with that 51. Duke makes it out of that pretty unscathed, but the 51 not quite as lucky into the fence.
Well, he is lucky in terms of having that fast repair available, as only one driver so far has used it, and that was the 25 of Kaufman. The caution that we saw him involved in. Nobody else has had to use it just yet, so we might see our second fast repair of the night get used. Just about everybody into their pit stalls now. One coming back out. Peters there on the outside. He came in the 5th position. He's going to come out taking this field to the green flag. That'll be Drabick and Ellingson right behind. That is a strategy call from the 46. Only 2 tires versus the entire field taking 4, aside from the 37 of Michael Seymour back in the 17th position.
Yeah, well, Peters got into the top 10 on strategy in the first place, and now he's going to get to first place on strategy as well. We'll see how this works out for him, but the 2-tire call will give him the lead. Right now, we want to thank another one of our partners here in Goat Locker Racing, Save 22. Save 22 is a 501c3 organization dedicated to preventing suicide among veterans, active duty personnel, and first responders. Their unwavering mission extends to 4 critical pillars: shield, assist, volunteer, and educate, or save. Right now, you're seeing that sponsor on the side of that 53 car, Jonathan Cofield, who just came out of that pit lane back in 13th.
A little bit of a shuffle in the running order. Now Drabic has to make way around another driver here. A new face for Drabic in this race. As Peters will take the inside line on this restart. I apologize. Peters will take the outside line on this restart, giving Drabic the inside, that non-favorable line going to the 07 here. The 22 of McCarthy behind Peters as well. So this might be an opportunity for McCarthy to get ahead of Drabic and potentially stay there.
I think the dash for cash might play a little bit of role in that strategy call for the 46 of Peters. He and Drabic both racing for that extra $60 tonight. Might make him fight a little bit harder here for the win of this race.
The dash for cash drivers list, I forgot to mention the 87 of Ham is not here tonight, so it's essentially a race between 4 drivers here. 2 of them at the front of this restart right now, just over halfway through this race. Into the InVets restart zone we go, and Peters takes the green flag.
Good jump for him on the top like we expected, but Drabic holds pretty tight on the bottom. McCarthy not able to jump ahead, and now he's going to duck down to the middle, forcing that 27 of Ellingson down. Drabic will make a huge send, and these 4 tires seem to be the play, because Peters has been swallowed by 4 cars before he even got to turn 3.
Not even 1 lap completed for the 46 and falls back to the 5th spot. They'll have to figure something out to hold on to that position and stay in contention for the top spot of this race. But right now, it's the Jacob Ellingson show at the front of the pack with the 24 of McCarty looking to the inside. He is clear of teammate Patrick Drabic. Now Drabic with that momentum around the outside. He'll get back to that 2nd spot. Going to stick to the bottom here for the 24 going through turns 3 and 4. Nowhere really to go for him as he's going to take a look to the eye line. He gets between Ellingson and Drabic, but Drabic immediately takes a look to the inside. Contact, and there he goes. He's spun around. The 24 to the inside. No caution on the track just yet. And we're going to stay green here at Kansas. Patrick Drabic just unable to get off of the 24 there. That's going to send McCarty all the way to the back of the pack.
Well, he probably wasn't the happiest about that slide job there. I think with some of these drivers have really been pulling that movement as it comes down to the end of the race. I think you're going to see less and less drivers kind of braking for that slide job. Drabic ends up in the back of that 24 car there, and McCarty is going to go all the way to the rear of the field.
Sky, that looks nearly identical to last week's finish, where we had the white flag come out. The top 2 drivers got into each other and fell back to 5th and 6th spot. So it's that was nearly identical, just 1 less driver collected in that.
Yeah, McCarthy's going to be the beneficiary because I'll get him up to 2nd. Pretty steady ahead of that 07 of Patrick Drabic, who's back in 3rd, which is pretty much the lowest he's ran all race. Bit of a gap back there behind that top 3. It's Gardner and Duke. Drabic is looking all over the bumper of that 22 car trying to make something happen.
And the 46 of Peters right there on the right side of the screen started this restart in the 1st position, now struggling to keep that 46 up here in the top 10. That 2-tire strategy not playing out in their favor. Maybe 1 more pit stop will get him back on the same cycle as everybody else. But now Ellingson had a challenge from the inside, but nothing doing there as McCarthy will slot back up in between the teammates. Into turn number 3 we go.
McCarthy is really willing to send that car down to the inside and try to slide it up in front of the car on the top. It's not the first time we've seen him try it. Hasn't been able to make it work on Ellingson here, but if he can get close enough to the bumper of that 27 car, I'd expect him to try it again with 39 to go.
as he should. There is no give or take whenever it comes to the final couple laps of these races. It's all about the position. You want as many points as possible. Now Drabic to the inside of McCarthy. Door to door, high up on the racetrack. More contact made. Nothing doing this time with Drabic as he's going to take back that second spot, narrowly getting across the nose of the 22. Drabic right back behind the teammate now.
Yeah, that contact will give Drabic second over McCarthy, but I don't think McCarthy's going to be too happy. The only question is that 22 going to be able to stay with and maybe catch him? Because the last two times we got Ellingson and Drabic clear 1 and 2, McCarthy has fallen back. He's been unable to keep pace with these top two cars. Is that going to happen again, or will that 22 be able to keep in tow with the 27 and the 07?
We've seen these two drive away from the rest of the field twice already, as you mentioned. They're already starting that charge. As McCarthy just about a little over 0.3 of a second back from the 07 right now, but expect to see that grow as we continue green here at Kansas. A little bit of a battle forming, just a few spots back.
Yeah, Jamie Mullins is having some issues down there because he's got that situation where you've got about 4 or 5 cars all lined up on the top, and you can't find a hole to fit into. So you're kind of stuck running the bottom as they all slowly make their way around you. That line is led by Gardner in the 42, and it goes all the way back to Sturgeon there in the 26. Taylor in the 14's running a little lower, and Mullins will finally find a position to slot in. He'll go to 8th, right ahead of Sturgeon in the 26.
Back on board here with Logan Sturgeon in the 9th position. You can see it's a little bit of a scramble just ahead of him. Nothing too crazy at the moment. Most of this field single file back out rather quickly after that restart compared to what we've seen on the other restarts. Jeremy Gardner there on that low line. He's at risk of losing position to Sturgeon. And he does. Sturgeon now into the 9th spot still.
Drabic's really gotten closer to Ellingson up there. That battle's still 1 and 2, but Drabic has closed the gap under 0.2 of a second. Really close up there for that lead. Ellingson was a little faster last time around because Drabic tried to move to the bottom. But Drabic is just working that top line better, and I think if he can get a slide job going on Ellingson, he'll try to take it because he is right on the bumper down into 1.
I would have to say I believe we'll see these two keep it nice and clean up until it's time to switch positions for a fuel strategy, or if it gets down to inside 5 to go, then we'll see these two start to battle. Right now, they definitely don't want to take each other out. It's a little bit further back, some side-by-side action once more. Jeremy Gardner there in the 42 on the outside. The 15 of Barkas takes the inside advantage going into turn number 1. Will he have enough clear to get up in front of the 42 on turn 2 exit? There's the move up the racetrack, and there it is, complete at the slide job.
42 is going to try to cut back to the inside here. We'll see what Gardner can do now on the 15. Pretty good run. Is he going to be able to get it to the top in front of Barkas? Yes, he will. So it's going to go right back to Jeremy Gardner at a 4. We'll see if Barkas can try to do something on the top down into 1 and 2.
Now here's one thing to remember, Sky. Every time you complete that slide job, you are just burning away rubber on the tires. As Duke now slow with contact into the wall. That's going to check up both of these drivers here. Scratch that. Barkas just going to give him a little bump here to get him back up to speed. Duke not losing really any position there. Just some ground to the back of the 22, who's now all alone there in 3rd place.
Yeah, the 22, we were wondering if he was going to be able to hold up to the pace of the 27 and the 07, and right now he hasn't. He's dropped 0.7 off the back of Drabic and falling, getting closer to this 3-car battle of Duke, Gardner, and Barkas. We'll see if these 3 can catch up to him. Duke is back clear for now, and he might have something for that 22 car.
He's got to find some extra speed here. We'll keep an eye on the lap times. I know you're really good about doing that, Sky, but let's take a look here. This time by Duke, 1/10 of a faster to the 22, so he will be able to, if he can keep the pace at least, he'll be able to close that gap back up to third place. Right now, Ellingson and Drabick running away with it. 3/4 of a second of a lead to third place off the back end of the 07.
What was really interesting about that last lap was that David Duke ran the fastest of the cars up front, but the fastest car overall in the field by 0.2 of a second was Levi McCarty, who's running back in 20th. So that car has a lot of speed right now. It's just a question of if he's able to actually use it and get himself back up to the front.
We just saw McCarty got spun a few laps ago. No caution out for him, so he's got a lot of ground to make up. He started there in 15th position for the night, back to the 20th spot after that incident. We'll see if the 24 can say anything about it and get back to where he was originally up in the top 10. Right now, Gardner with his hands full of Barkis still on that inside line. Takes a look to the middle. Just not enough to get there. A little bit, I'd say you had to lift there. That was real close to the back bumper of the 78 of Duke.
It's kind of a yo-yo effect here between these cars and McCarthy, Drabick, and Ellingson, where the more these guys do battle back here for 4th, 5th, and 6th, the more those top 3 cars are able to get away. This battle is also going to wear out the tires, specifically of Gardner and Barkis, who have been going at it for about 5 or 6 laps now, and that's only going to allow these cars up front to get further and further away as we get deeper into the run.
You are 100% correct about that, so these drivers really need to start managing some tires to make sure that they have some left for the final lap of this race. That's your last opportunity to gain any sort of positioning here. But Jacob Ellingson now able to drive away a little bit from 07 of Drabick. A little bit
contact
back here. We've got one going through the infield. That's the 53 of Jonathan Cofield. A little bit of contact there out of turn number 4 sends him through the grass. Now he's going to lose all that positioning that he just had.
We'll take a look on the replay of what happened to the 53. He's running 3 wide. It's the 78, 26 in front of him, and kind of a domino effect there. Car on top, I believe that was Lokenvitz, hit the wall, and 53 just kind of on the bad end of that, nowhere to go.
It's an unfortunate mistake there on the outside that Cofield had nothing to do with.
Yeah, absolutely not how he wanted that to go. It was Lokenvitz into the wall, stacked it up down into Sturgeon, who stacked it up down into Cofield, and he got the short end of the stick there. Nowhere to go to avoid that one.
Not that time, but a quick update here on our Dash for Cash drivers. Patrick Drabick still in the lead for that chase between the 4 drivers that are here tonight. Currently sitting up there in second. We've got Peters. He's fallen back out of the top 10. He's currently sitting 15th. Cofield, who we just saw get mixed up, he's back to the 19th position. So the only contender right now towards Drabick is the 78 of Duke, who's up there in 4th.
When Duke is clear of these guys, he's been able to run some pretty good laps, but he's spent so much time in a battle, either getting dirty air from the 22 of McCarthy in front or being challenged by the 42 of Gardner on the inside, and it's really hurt the ability of that 78 car to make speed and try to catch up to these guys in front. He's going to have to run the middle here, and he's going to end up scraping the wall as a result. That's going to get Gardner up into 4th right there, and now Barkis is going to try to challenge for the spot in the top 5.
So Gardner and Barkis finally got some separation. That contact with the wall of Duke made Barkis check up just enough to where now Gardner does not have to worry about him for a little while, but he's on the inside of the 22 of McCarthy. He'll have a slight advantage coming out of the corner, but not quite clear enough to get up in front. Nearly contact coming off of turn number 2. Gardner still stuck on that low line here going into 3.
Yeah, that was close between those 2 cars, but they keep it straight. Gardner seems to really like challenging on that bottom. It's how he got around Duke, who's since fallen to 6th behind Barkas. He's really made that low line work, and he's been one of very few cars who have been able to do it. This car is really fast right now. It was a 10th faster than Ellingson and Drabic last time around, and it was running the bottom. So something being found on that lower line for the 42 car at Gardner.
Gardner was the Season 8 champion for a reason, Sky. He found the speed where he needed it the most and where he's comfortable with. And that low line is being kind to the 42 right now. McCarthy's still on the outside here, nearly door to door. Gardner, this will be his opportunity to get in front of McCarthy. He takes it. He's now on the high line. Now he needs to look to protect the inside. Do not let McCarthy get that inside line and pull the same maneuver that Gardner just did. But he is to the inside. Just not quite as clear. Nearly contact there to the right rear. Little bit of door banging coming off of turn number 4. But Gardner now on the outside. He'll have the advantage of the momentum coming off of turn number 2.
And it's a bad lap for both of them in comparison to the top 2 because they've been making contact and they're slowing each other down. Near contact off the corner, McCarthy has to get off the gas to avoid hitting the left rear of that 42 car. It'll give Gardner the spot and it'll massively slow up McCarthy. He's going to drop back 0.4 of a second and he'll need to re-rack quickly if he wants to make another run at a podium.
This will be the perfect opportunity for the 22 and the 42 to find a good line that will help cool off these tires. You don't want to scrub them too much whenever you're out here kind of on a solo drive. That'll give them a good chance to have a fight up here for the lead. As now Drabic has fallen half a second back from Ellingson. Ellingson still running that high line. Drabic has now moved towards the middle line here late in this race. We have not seen that one get used too often so far, only in 3 wide situations. But now, the solo car is using that middle line.
Gardner just went 0.3 of a second faster than Drabic and Ellingson last lap. That 42 car has a lot of pace right now. I don't think he's going to go quite as quick this lap, but he's very much getting there. He's found something here. And with 16 to go, he might be a threat to get up there and try to get a spot in the top 2.
Ellingson and Drabic, masters of strategy, though, here. We've seen it in races previous. This could very much be a call of save tires, save fuel. We'll keep that bubble about a half second. Back to the 3rd place spot right now on board with Gardner. You can see that gap is slowly closing to the back end of the the 07. They're still up on the high line now. Drabic has moved back up the racetrack. Gardner still finding speed on the low line, even 30 laps into this run on these tires.
Yeah, it's a real difference in kind of racing approach between these 2 cars because you've got Ellingson, who started this run and has since run every single lap right up there on the wall. Drabic's moved a little lower down. He's trying to find some better air in the middle. Meanwhile, Gardner has been committed to this bottom line, and it's really been working for him. Because look, just while we're on this in-car, Drabic has gotten so much closer to Gardner, it's down to about 0.2 of a second when they exit the corner. That 42 car, this isn't going to have to wait long before he can put a move up the inside of the 07 of Patrick Drabic.
Drabic with a little bit of contact to the wall on turn 1 entry there. That'll slow him up just enough as that gap closes even more. And now Gardner at the back bumper takes a look to the inside. He's got the line. That'll force Drabic to the outside. Gardner with a lot of momentum there on the bottom. He'll take that position with ease.
And the gap just keeps going down to Ellingson. It was 1.5 seconds for Gardner a couple laps ago, and he's cut it in half. It's down to 0.8 as they enter turn 1 on lap 88 out of 100. Gardner, even while making the move on Drabic, was 2.5 faster than Ellingson last time around. He's the fastest car on the racetrack, and it's not particularly close either.
We're just about with 10 to go. Gardner has to give it everything that 42 has if he wants to put this thing on the top step of the podium post-race, and he is closing that gap to do so. Gardner with one heck of a drive here so far tonight. Only up 4 positions, but it's been a battle the entire time for the 42 team. He is making the most of it as he is still closing the gap now within 0.7 of a second of Ellingson.
Yeah, and it's just continuing to go down. You can see him cut into it there on the entry of the corner where he gets a big lunge towards that 27 car. Down to almost about 0.5 there when he exits. And he's getting enough of a run down the straightaway that he's really cutting into that gap. Didn't even go above about 0.6 of a second there. And he's going to lunge it even further, almost down under 0.5 second through turn 2. And now as we go down the back straightaway, that gap's not going to go anywhere near the 0.6 of a second that it was before that lunge.
This time by will be 10 to go here. Gardner's got the pace to do it. Will Ellingson be able to hold off the 42? Drabick, no factor for either of them at the moment. It's getting heated up here. It might not look like it's very close, but it is extremely close with 10 to go. Ellingson watching that yellow car get ever so bigger in that rearview mirror. So it's going to be a battle to the finish.
And entering turn 3 for Gardner, where you think he would have kind of the worst amount of gap there to Ellingson, he was still under 0.5 second. This car is still going faster. Across the line that time, Gardner was 0.07 quicker. Ellingson's been able to pick up the pace, but there's still a lot of speed in that 42, and he's still running faster lap after lap. Gap peaking down under 0.4 there as he continues to close with on lap 92.
Although Kansas is a smaller track here, only 1.5 miles around, this is about the perfect opportunity for Gardner to catch some sort of a draft here off the back of the 27. That is really helping coming down that backstretch and across the front tri-oval to keep that gap so low where he can make that big lunge into the corners and close it up even more. As we saw it just peak below 0.3 of a second. Gardner's there.
Yeah, and he got the benefits of that draft without any of the negatives of the lap trap, or any of the negatives of the dirty air, my bad, from that 27 car. He's really been able to close the gap, and as that 27 car keeps running the top line, Gardner's got free, clean air on the bottom, doesn't have any problems with running that line, and now he's peaking under 0.2 of a second on the exit of 2.
Gardner becoming a major threat here. So there's a caution on the track. This changes everything, Sky.
Michael Kostick around, and that's going to bring out the caution. Gardner had played the perfect long run strategy. He was in the best position to get the win, and it's going to be taken away from him because we're going to have a restart here with about 2 or 3 to go.
Taking a look back here on the instant replay camera. Kostick is the one we're looking for here. A little bit of contact there. Kostick into the wall. Oh, and big contact from behind with the 33. Just could not get around. The 33 there, Tyler Justice. Could not find a way around the 3 of Kostick. That's 3-on-3 crime.
Yeah, he just went straight into the back of him there. Cars are going to pace back around, and that completely changes everything. Drabick was out of it. Now he's right back into it. Gardner looked like he was going to be able to make the move, and now he's got to try it again. And everybody's going to come down pit road here, which is going to shake things up even more.
Wonder if we'll see a mixture of strategy here. 2 tires versus 4. We saw 2 tires did not quite work earlier. I'd say at least the top 10 will likely take all 4. Drabick with a good stop into his box there, and he'll just have to drive straight out. 49 of Bontrager in the same position. Let's just keep an eye right here, see who wins this battle off the pit road. And it's going to be the 42 of Gardner. Then Drabick, Ellingson. Now I've lost all the numbers.
Bontrager comes out 4th, Michael McCarthy 5th, David Duke 6th, Josh Lokenvitz 7th, Jamie Barkus 8th, Jamie Mullins 9th, Chance Taylor comes out 10th. That is huge for Jeremy Gardner. He is going to have the preferred line on this restart, which I believe will be the top for that 42 car, and he is going to be in a great position to get it done. Huge for Drabik as well, because he gets the spot on Ellingson. While these drivers are pacing around here, we want to tell you about another one of our partners here at Goat Locker Racing, that being Operation Valor Racing. They are a race team with the goal of fielding a truck next season in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Veteran-based and focused on helping veterans all across the racing world, they are also heavily involved with many veteran nonprofits to help raise awareness and funds. They're also the title sponsor of this series, and they're presenting a pretty good one tonight. We thank them for all they do for Goat Locker Racing, and they've really sponsored a good one with 4 laps to go.
That they have, and might as well take an opportunity since we've got the Jam Printing and Promotions poll, or not poll award, but the Jam Printing and Promotion 07 up here at the front of the pack. Jam Printing and Promotions. Formed in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits with a primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker Racing since the very beginning. Local and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community. Patrick Drabik repping that Jam Printing and Promotions 07 week after week. See him as a top contender every single week so far this season. And tonight, no different, as he'll have the outside line. Gardner on the inside where he's like to have been all race long. And into the InVets restart zone we go. And Gardner away for potentially the last time tonight with 3 to go.
Gardner's going to get the big jump. He's going to go back down to the bottom. We've seen some kind of mixing in lines here on these restarts. Gardner loves the bottom, but the top has proven to be fast on the short runs. He's got a good run right there, though, but Ellingson is going to get some speed on the top. Oh, and they're wrecking big behind. That's David Duke spinning in the back. Caution's out. We got a big accident.
There's the big one. Man, a lot of cars collected up in that. The worst of it being the 78. Looks like the 46 of Peters also got collected there late in the accident. But David Duke, one of our Dash for Cash drivers tonight, that will essentially end his efforts, as well as likely the 46 of Peters. Drabik looking to be in a great position to take away that award tonight.
Man, well, the Dash for Cash might have played a role in this because he was racing hard with Drabik, and it's just contact with Bontrager behind, gets him turned up into the wall. Huge hit for another Dash for Cash car in the 46 of Peters, and they wrecked a little further up the racetrack there with Bontrager as well.
Peters just with nowhere to go there. You could see he had slowed up quite a bit. Just not enough to get down below. There's the contact. There's the sideways action. The 53 back there also involved. Not as bad up here. Had a couple cars into the wall, a couple bumpers that are going to be damaged, but overall could have been a lot worse. It appeared a lot worse at the beginning there.
Yeah, so Lokenvitz is taking some damage there. Every kind of Dash for Cash car except Drabik ended up on the bad end of that because the 53 of Cofield was also caught up in this. So Drabik is going to have a golden opportunity now to get that Dash for Cash. You're on board with Timothy Peters. He just didn't see him till it was too late.
He had basically a wall right in front of him coming into turn number 3. We saw Peters check up early. You could see that something was going on. He just could not see around the car in front. That's the 75 there on the outside. On top of the car, so we have a little bit of an advantage here. You can see Duke into the wall, and there, finally, Peters can finally see the 78 sideways right in his line.
Yeah, well, this is going to take us now to a green-white checkered finish. We've got 2 attempts at these, so if they get a caution on this one, we've got one more try to end it under green, but it's going to be 2 attempts at a green-white checkered. It's going to be 2 to go. When we take this green flag, it'll be Gardner up front, Ellingson second, Michael McCarthy has gotten up to third ahead of Patrick Drapick in fourth, and Craig Bontrager peeking into that top 5 there in fifth, albeit likely with some damage from being involved in that accident.
So just to clarify, like you mentioned, we have 2 attempts at green-white checkers here. That first one, it appeared to be one. However, that is a natural green-white checkered attempt as we came across with 4, switched it over to 3. So we still have this one and 1 more if needed. I think this is the first time that we've used a green-white checkered here on Friday nights with Goat Locker, Sky.
Think it is, at least this season. Haven't had one at Daytona. This is going to be our first try at one. These drivers are coming down the back straightaway. A lot of questions about how this is going to go between Gardner and Ellingson. Can Drabick get back up from fourth? Can Bontrager and Lokenvitz hold on with damage in that accident? And how about Levi McCarty, who's recovered from that spin to start on the 4th row? A lot of drivers looking for some spots here, and some drivers up front looking for the win.
Drivers up front looking for a win on the season. We've got Patrick Drabick there in the 2nd row looking to collect $60 here tonight. Pace truck is off. Gardner on the inside, Ellingson on the outside. Into the Invets restart zone one more time. And back, green flag racing for our first green-white checkered attempt. Gardner with a massive jump on the inside. Will he slot up to the top line? And he doesn't. He's going to hug that white line down there right there at the bottom. Ellingson follows in suit. The 22 of McCarthy right in tow behind Ellingson. Both of them will slot up in front of the 07 of Drabick. Gardner elected to stay very low coming out of the corner, protecting this turn 3 entrance. If we can get to the white flag here, it'll be official after that. Gardner, big
Oh,
wreck
we're not.
And the white flag is out.
We're going to take that white flag. Big
White
wreck
flag
there.
Out. Caution flag stays in. Gardner has the advantage door to door right now for McCarthy and Ellingson. It's a battle for second. Gardner's loving every bit of it, watching it in the rear view. McCarthy with a little bit of a disadvantage going into turn number 3. Ellingson on the outside. It's a drag race to the finish for second place, but overall, Jeremy Gardner will take the win here at Kansas. And so close for second. McCarthy's going to get it, though.
Wow, Jeremy Gardner gets it done. Fastest lap of the race. Jeremy Gardner on the final lap, which was lap 103.
That is where it counts. Jeremy Gardner takes a win here at Kansas. And first win for Gardner this season after taking the championship last season. We'll get the 42 back up here right at that start-finish line, and he'll burn it down in celebration for the first win of the season in week 3. Take a look back here at what happened coming across for that white flag. Bontrager there on the bottom just got loose, collected a couple cars. We've got drivers through the infield. One nearly flipped on its side. Cofield, the 25, apologize, I keep getting that name mixed up. That is Kaufman, James Kaufman in the 25. Goes sliding through the infield, able to collect it without damage, but that does not matter as the caution flag did not come out. Jeremy Gardner still in celebration mode, but let's take a quick commercial break and we'll follow up right back here in just a few minutes with our post-race coverage and interviews with our top 3 drivers.
thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. InVets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. InVets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about InVets, visit us at invets.org today.
Well, yet another exciting finish here on the Friday night Operation Valor Truck Series presented by Goat Locker Racing. Get right into our post-race results here. 5 cautions on the night with 8 lead changes. Jeremy Gardner takes home the win here after starting in 6th. Behind him, Michael McCarthy edges out Jacob Ellingson by less than 3 1/1000ths of a second. Patrick Drabick will come here in 4th with the 07. Levi McCarty takes the 24 to 5th place finish, followed by Josh Lokenvitz in the 79. Chance Taylor in the 14 will take 7th. Behind him, Barrett Morton in the 2. And last but not least, in our top 10, Stephen McDonald takes the 9th spot. And Chuck Pegleg Feltz in the 75 will take 10th.
And rounding out your top 20, it's going to be Timothy Stubblefield getting up to 11th. Jamie Mullins finishing in 12th. Timothy Peters recovers to finish 13th. Brandon Wallace in 14th. Jesse Nekula P15 and Michael Seymour in P16. Tyler Justice 17th. Jonathan Cofield 18th. James Kaufman P19 and Craig Bontrager in the 49 rounds out your top 20 in 20th.
And just a few more drivers to go. In 21st, we have George Jewell, followed by Matt Knights in the 64. Jamie Barkas in the 15 takes the 23rd position. An unfortunate night for David Duke in the 78 will take home 24th, followed by Michael Kostick in the 3 and Logan Sturgeon in the 26 will take the 26th spot. But it's time to get right into our interviews with our top finishers here. We'll get right into it with our winner, Jeremy Gardner. Jeremy, you got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Man, a fantastic race for you. It all came down to the last couple of restarts there. We saw you using that low line for majority of the race, if not all of it. We saw you elect to take that low line on those last couple of restarts. Kind of surprised us up here in the booth. That high line was ultra dominant all night long, but the 42 found the speed where it counted most.
Yes, sir. I literally had that strategy before I went into the race tonight. I told everybody, run the bottom line as long as you can tonight. High lines, it's fast, but let's be honest, long run, it kills tire. So that was a good race, man. I just tried to mind my business for the first half of it. And then I noticed saving tire wasn't really getting us anywhere and we were losing the draft. And I just finally just said, after that last caution, I was like, hell with it, let's go. And I did, and I'm honestly shocked how well that worked out right there. I honestly got up to Jake and I was kind of mad that caution came out. I was like, man, there goes my race. I've lost a lot of races on last 10 lap restarts, so a little scary right there, but glad it all worked out.
You are correct about that. That was, essentially you had it in the bag coming to that yellow, but we certainly thought it was going to flip the script entirely here. But you were able to hold it down and take away the win, proving why you were the Season 8 champion already early here in season number 9. I don't really know how to follow that up with anything else, but Jeremy, is there anything you memorable here tonight that you'd like to make note of?
Memorable. Let's go back to last week when I threw probably the dumbest block I think I've ever done in my life. I literally last lap threw the dumbest block and literally took myself out of contention for another win. I had to redeem myself tonight. I came in here a little frustrated, so I had to drive the wheels off of it tonight, get back in victory lane.
You know what? That does shake my memory there. I kind of forgot who the 2 drivers were, but it was indeed you. So I knew you'd be coming out here with a vengeance.
Yeah, I had to, man. It was full steam tonight for sure.
Overall, not a bad finish by any means. Now, next week, we're coming up into the Milwaukee Mile. What are your thoughts going up there? And just what's the kind of preparation you're going to do? Milwaukee's going to be a total different race from anywhere we've been so far this season.
I'm hit or miss there. I either suck or I'm good there. That's another memorable race right there. Last season, me and Cody McElwain fighting for the lead. He was on older tires holding me off. I threw him a couple bumps, and then I just got a little too greedy with like 2 or 3 to go, throttled up too soon out of 2, and then spun myself. But that's another race. I'm going to try and redeem myself and try to get it up front.
Sounds like a fantastic plan going into next week then, Jeremy. Anybody you'd like to say thanks to for this win here tonight?
Yeah, man. Pat and Jamie, GOR. Appreciate them guys. Let's see, Lincoln Tech saved 22. Of course, y'all guys, Eddie, you, I mean, all of y'all guys, man, y'all put on a hell of a broadcast every single week. I love going back and watching these broadcasts. Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, my sponsors above the yellow line, and Operation Valor, and for putting on the series this year and helping out. And my baby, Howie DeSavino, I know he's watching right now, and Premier Racing Setups.
Well, once again, fantastic job here tonight, Jeremy. We will see you next week in Milwaukee.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good night.
You too, buddy. That'll move us right into our second place finisher, who now Sky Shrek is standing by with Michael McCarthy.
Hey, Michael, you got a copy? Michael, can you hear me? We might not have Michael up here in the booth.
Michael McCarthy, you have a copy, buddy.
All right. Well, we're
for
gonna
the time
circle. Yeah,
being.
we're gonna circle back to him. I think Logan, have you caught up with Jake Ellingson down there?
I have caught up with our third place finisher, Jacob Ellingson, once again up here in the V Speed booth after another podium. Not quite the one you were looking for here tonight, but certainly can't be unhappy about it.
It's still a little disappointing. I mean, I'm happy to be on the podium, but I kind of gave that one away.
Yeah, you can't really call it giving it away when you're separated by less than 3/1000ths of a second per se. It was just a good hard battle there to the end between you and McCarthy. But overall, you led a lot of laps in this race, nearly half of it. 49 laps led. We saw that 27 up front all night long, but you started back there in 11th. What kind of maneuvering did you have to do early on in the race to put yourself up there in contention for a win tonight?
Yeah, just some aggressive passes on the start of the race there. I wanted to get settled in on the high side. That's where I felt most comfortable in practice, and then just kind of working with my teammate Pat, back and forth and trying to separate ourselves from the field, and just on that last pit stop, just gave it away. I slid through my pit box.
I was kind of wondering what happened to you there. I saw the pit times a little bit different than normal and a little bit more than obviously Jeremy Gardner, but overall, still a third place finish. Like you said, you can have a little remorse for it, but it's already a much better start to season 9 than it was in season 8.
Definitely. I'm focused more in on the racecraft on here on Friday nights, and see what we can do for the rest of the season. Hopefully, many more podiums, and trying to get this win. I got to get this monkey off my back. I haven't had a win in the truck since season 6, so it's been a while, but we'll just keep pushing forward and see what we can do.
Absolutely. Well, Jake, is there anybody you'd like to say thanks to for your third place finish here tonight?
Well, I definitely got to thank Lincoln Tech for putting their name on the number 27 here and sponsoring the fall series. Save 22, Hiddenwood Brewery, Cruiser Classics, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar, Glove Station, Operation Valor, InVets Jam Printing and Promotions, Piconi Setup Shop, Sim Racing Media, Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs, Alexander's PC, Sim Motion, Next Level Racing, iRacing Above the Yellow Line. And you want to know what? I can't thank you guys at V Speed for the awesome broadcasts you guys do on Tuesdays and Friday nights here. You guys do an amazing job. And last but not least, I got to thank my beautiful daughters and my wonderful, amazing, beautiful wife for allowing me to have the time to come out and have fun with you guys.
Absolutely, buddy. And we love being here and seeing all you Goat Locker drivers out here putting on quite the show week after week. But again, fantastic race here and a great start to the new season. Jacob, we will see you next week in Milwaukee.
Have a good one, guys.
And I believe we've got word now that our second place finisher is back on the radio here. Sky Shrek, take it away.
Michael, you got a copy?
I do. How's it going, guys?
There you go. That's a photo finish there at the end with Ellingson to get yourself that second spot. Walk me through that final restart for you.
Yeah, I mean, it all came down to the pit, right? So I pitted sixth. I was just dropping spots in that long run, and then I gained a spot on pit road, which put me in fifth, which gave me the bottom on the restart. And we were restarting really well in the bottom the whole race. I think I went from sixth to third on the start of the race, running the bottom. And I knew on a 2-lap shootout, if I could get to the bottom, I had good short run speed, and I was just going to run 2 qualifying laps and just call it a day.
All right. Well, yeah, I was going to say you looked out of it before that caution came out with 5 to go. What was going through your head when that happened?
Just stop the bleeding. I was just gonna run the top. I was gonna keep running the top and force whoever wanted to pass me on the bottom, and that was working out quite well for long enough. But yeah, I just bled a couple spots. I was probably gonna end up finishing sixth, but who would have? I didn't. So.
All right. Well, we're going to the Milwaukee Mile next week. You excited for that one?
Yeah, I like the short courses, like the medium size mile tracks, like Dover, Milwaukee. They're all right.
All right. Well, anyone you want to thank or shout out tonight?
Absolutely. Big shout out to my wife, my beautiful daughter. Shout out to Jam Printing Promotions, all of you guys broadcasting, Alexander PCs, and Operation Valor for sponsoring the whole series. Can't thank everybody here enough.
All right. Well, congrats on P2 tonight, Michael McCarthy.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
And man, what a race that was, Logan. I mean, just start to finish. Another great race here in Goat Locker at Kansas Speedway.
On par with everything that we've seen so far this season, we've had 2 very close finishes. First one there at Daytona, the second one here tonight in Kansas. Overall, season already shaping up to be a close battle from start to finish. And just a quick note on that, we did forget to mention the Dash for Cash drivers overall winner does go to Patrick Drabick, finishing in 4th. Next closest was Timothy Peters there in 13th after Duke had some issues. Kind of took him out of the contention. So congratulations, Patrick. Take home that winnings. I'm sure he'll end up donating it right back to Goat Locker Racing. But Sky, we've concluded here at Kansas. What were your thoughts looking back on this race tonight?
Man, that's just our 3rd great race in a row we've had. I mean, there was action all throughout the field, drama at the finish. That was just awesome.
Can't complain with it whatsoever. But you can catch it all again next week on February 7th when we head to Milwaukee for the Milwaukee Mile. Now for everybody behind the scenes at Goat Locker, Patrick Drabick, Jamie Barkas, and everybody else included with all of their sponsors, for Adam Baker and Bradley Cooper at V-Speed, our producer tonight, Eddie Smith, and my colleague in the booth, as always, Sky Schreck. My name is Logan Threlkeld. Thank you for watching tonight's broadcast, and we will see you next week in Milwaukee.